When you look through the 1983 playoffs, you look through playoffs in general in the 80s, and it just feels like once a team gets momentum, that's probably it. And with the New York Islanders, there was a lot of it. Now, when I did the 1983 series the last time through, I did the series between the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers, which the Islanders won in six. In the next round, they played the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins had a superior record to the New York Islanders. It didn't matter. The Islanders were 42, 26, and 12. They had 302 goals during the regular season, which was 15th in the league, 226 goals against, which was first. The Boston Bruins were 50, 20, and 10, 327 goals for, which was fifth, 228 goals against, which was second. So these are the two best defensive teams in the league. Remember that as we go through this series, these are the two best defensive teams in the league. And for Boston, they had had a fantastic year. They knocked out Quebec in the first round 3-1. They knocked out Buffalo in 7 games in the second round, whereas the Islanders had beaten Washington in 4, 3-1 in the first round, in 6 in the second round against the Rangers, and then they would sweep the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. So Boston gave them as much of a challenge as anybody else, and yet when you look at the scores, there's some overall ugliness here. Basically, when the Islanders got an opening, that was that. And Pete Peters, who had an amazing season, all-world season during the regular season, and definitely coming up to this series, he was pretty darn good. And in this one, he kind of gets lit up. So game one, Brent Sutter from Bob Bourne opens the scoring at 3 minutes and 36 seconds of the first. Second period, Janssen scores at 8 minutes and 37 seconds, and then Janssen would get an assist on a power play goal by Bossy. Potvin with the other assist at 14:08. Dwayne Sutter then scores from Bourne and Brent Sutter at 15:15. So the Islanders are up 4-0 after 2 periods. Third period, Boston shows some life. First is Barry Peterson from Mike Gillis. Yes, Mike Gillis. And Middleton gets on the board as well with an assist there at 5:51. And then it is Bork from Peterson at 6:08. So Peterson with 2 points and 17 seconds to make it 4-2. But Bob Bourne adds the fifth goal, the insurance goal at 17:27. The Islanders win at 5-2. Billy Smith, 30 saves on 32 shots. Pete Peters, 29 saves on 34 shots for the Boston Bruins. So you go to game 2 at home in Boston, and Boston does much better the second time out. In the first period on a power play, it's Mike Krushelnyski from McNabb and Kluzak at 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Following that, a shorthanded goal by Brad Palmer from Rick Middleton at 16:33. Brad Palmer on the board. So that's a 2-0 lead for Boston after one. Second period, power play goal by the Islanders to get on the board is Denny Potvin from Trottier and Bossy at 3:57. Those are 3 Hall of Famers combining on that. Then it's a shorthanded goal by Barry Peterson to restore the 2-goal lead from Middleton and Kluzak at 16:51. Gord Kluzak was a good defenseman. I've done a career video on him before. Third period, Barry Peterson scores again. He scores from Middleton and Gillis at 10:15. Boston ends up winning at 4-1. Billy Smith, 27 saves on 31 shots in the loss. Pete Peters, the best game he had in the series, 32 saves on 33 shots. So we go to New York, where the Islanders are going to do to Boston what Boston did to Vancouver in 2011. And it is brutal. It is spectacular. And yeah, that's the big storyline out of this is Boston gets annihilated when they go to New York and play the Islanders. Nassau, kind of a hostile place for the Boston Bruins. Now in the first period, it's Nystrom scoring from Goring and Tonelli at 3 minutes. So 1-0 lead for the Islanders. But Boston does fight back. First it's McTavish from Bork and McNabb at 4:28. However, the Islanders, it's a power play goal. It's Brent Sutter from Dwayne Sutter and Bob Bourne, I should say, at 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Trottier then scores from Bossy and Gillies at 13:21. It's 3-1 after the first. But in the second, Boston shows some fight. A power play goal. Ray Bork from Keith Crowder and Barry Peterson at 6 minutes and 53 seconds. And then it's a restoration of the 3-goal lead, 3-goal lead by the Islanders. It's a power play goal. It's Bossy from Trottier and Janssen at 16:27. Third period, Ray Bork scores again. That's the third goal from Boston, and that's where their happiness ends. That was a 2-goal lead. That was 4-2 after 2. 4-3 with that Bork goal, and then it all falls apart. First, it's Ken Morrow from Kahlua and Bossy at 5:06. Then a power play goal is Denny Potvin from Janssen and Bossy at 17:56. And then Goring scores from Tonelli and Janssen at 1904. So 506, 1756, 1904. And it's a 7-3 win for the New York Islanders. Good thing that games only count for one. You don't look at that and go, well, technically it's only a 1 win, but that kind of counts for 2. Peters, 19 saves on 26 shots. Billy Smith, 33 saves on 36 shots. So we go into the next game, and this is where you could understand if Boston went with somebody other than Peters. They didn't have anybody they trusted, so it's still Peters. To which the Islanders say, okie dokie. And in the first, it's actually Boston that gets the lead. It's Mike Krushelnyski scoring from Bourque on the power play at 4 minutes and 21 seconds. So there you go. Boston's up. However, Tonelli scores from Nystrom at 7:23, and then Potvin scores from Tonelli at 10:04. Krushelnyski scores the second goal he scores of that period from Peterson at 16:07. And hey, it's a 2-2 tie after 1. Second period, Bossy scores from Keller and Trottier at 4:05. That makes it 3-2 after 2. And in the third, that's where the Islanders really roll them over. Just ugly. Like I said, it's reminiscent of 2011, Boston against Vancouver. Bossy scores from Janssen at 2:53. Dwayne Sutter scores from Goring and Gord Lane at 5:25. Power play goal, Bossy from Potvin at 6:41. And then it's a power play goal. It's Denny Potvin from Dwayne Sutter and Bob Bourne at 8:12. Following that, Nystrom scores from Tonelli and Goring at 8:52. And it's 8-2. On a power play, late after the halfway mark of the third period, it's Rick Middleton from Park and Krushelnyski at 12:41. It's an 8-3 win for the New York Islanders. 8. So Pete Peters, 23 saves on 31 shots for him. Billy Smith saves 27 out of 30 for the Islanders. And the Islanders are up 3-1. But it's going back to Boston. Boston's much better at home. They couldn't figure out the Islanders, and the Islanders figured out Boston in Game 1. That's all they had to do. Win 1 on the road, and then just don't lose at home. That's the key. Now in Game 5, the Islanders do score first. It's Nystrom from Tonelli and Janssen at 3 minutes and 12 seconds, as Janssen had a very good series here. McTavish would score to tie it from Crowder and McNabb at 5:07. Peterson then scores from Middleton and Krushelnyski at 6:15. So 2 goals about a minute apart. It's 2-1 Boston. Second period, power play goal, Bourque from Krushelnyski and Peterson at 9 minutes and 29 seconds. McNabb then scores from Park at 12:06, followed by Bruce Crowder getting on the board. So Keith Crowder was on the board a few times now. Bruce Crowder's on the board from Casper and Bourque at 19:27. Third period, no scoring. Boston wins it 5-1. Billy Smith allows 5 goals on 33 shots. Rolly Melanson goes in the net, saves all 12 shots he faces. Pete Peters, 21 saves on 22 shots. We go back to New York. It's Game 6. Can Pete Peters make a save in New York? No. And another reminiscent this would be for me is Pekka Rinne in Pittsburgh a few years back. Where just as soon as they're in Pittsburgh, that's Rinne just can't get it done. So Peters allows 7 goals here on 26 shots, 8 goals here on 31 shots, and then we get to Game 6. Boy, howdy. First period, it's Goring from Bourne and Potvin at 33 seconds. It starts early. So after Goring gets that early goal, it's a power play. The Islanders take a 2-0 lead. Bossy scores from Trottier and Persson at 8:09. Boston does fight their way back into this, though. Middleton scores from Bourque and Park at 10:42, and then McTavish scores from McNabb and Bourque at 16:34. So this is where people go, Craig McTavish was with the Bruins? Yeah. Whole other story for another career video at some time. I'll do a Craig McTavish career video. Brent Sutter scores from Bourne at 19:36. So they scored in the first minute of the period, they scored in the last minute of the period, and they emerged from the first with a 3-2 lead. Second period, Bossy scores at 59 seconds, unassisted. Bourque scores at 5:01, unassisted. Boston's trying to keep up with the Islanders, but the Islanders blow it open. Bossy scores from Trottier at 5:51. Bossy then scores his 4th goal of the game from Keller and Trottier at 10:03. Trottier then scores from Morrow and Bourne at 13:14. Boston does get a power play goal before the period's up. It's Middleton from Peterson and O'Connell at 17:39, but it's 7-4 after the second period. And in the third, it's Wayne Merrick scoring his first goal of the playoffs from Nystrom and Tonelli at 7:41. and the Islanders just roll over Boston. Now, this is before I'm a Bruins fan, so this isn't exactly one that resonates with me emotionally or anything like that, but it showed just how amazingly strong the Islanders were and how once they got rolling, once Mike Bossy got rolling. So Peters saves 24 out of 32. The storyline here is Peters does not save pucks in New York against the Islanders. So again, I mentioned Rene. I touched on the Luongo problem in the finals against Boston. Yeah, Pete Peters had the same problem with the New York Islanders as a Boston Bruins goaltender. And Billy Smith saved 16 out of 20. Not great numbers, but he wins. So Bourque had 5 goals and 5 assists for the Bruins in that series in 6 games. Peterson, 4 goals, 5 assists. Middleton, 3 goals, 5 helpers. Krushelnyski had 3 goals and 3 assists. And Peter McNabb had a goal and 4 assists to round things out for the Bruins. Peters was 2-4 with an .831 save percentage. That's a rough ending to what had been a really good year for him. Bossy had 9 goals and 4 assists in 6 games. There's a reason that those of us that are old enough to remember him say, yeah, probably the best goal scorer ever. Just injuries took him out before we saw him at the top of that hill. Brian Trottier, 2 goals, 6 assists. Bob Bourne had a goal and 7 assists in that run, in that round. Potvin, 4 goals, 3 assists. Janssen, a goal and 6 helpers. And John Tonelli with a goal and 6 assists as well. Billy Smith was 4-2 with an .885 save percentage. Billy Smith, not the greatest round for him this time around, but they win the games. 7-3, 8-3, and 8-4 at home. On the road, they win 5-2, they lose 4-1, they lose 5-1. Boston cannot keep them off the board in New York. So that's your storyline. That's how it turned out. And this was one of the many series in a row that were won by the New York Islanders. So there you go. 1983 is tricky. If I end up cycling through this again, I don't know that 83 that I can find another series that I think is really, really strong and a really good case of a close series that had some back and forth to it. This one kind of had some back and forth to it in that there's an upset on the road to start it, and Boston did tie the series, and they did win 5-1 in Game 5. And that's about as close to guess. Now, Boston did beat Buffalo in 7 the round before that. I don't think I can fit it on one board. There's so much scoring in that series. It's such a crazy series. If we come back around to 83, maybe I'll look at that one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.